Throughout the world, climate change is affecting the level of sea and encroaching upon critical habitat and infrastructure along its shores. The National Resource Council's mean projection for sea rise in San Francisco Bay is 11 inches by the year 2050 and 36 inches by 2100. If those projections prove accurate, many homes, businesses, and critical infrastructure will be impacted, and habitat along the shoreline will be flooded, leaving wildlife with little or no refuge. As a community, we must begin talking about ways to adapt to rising seas and testing viable options. This information isn't intended as doom and gloom for our beautiful bay. In fact, it's just the opposite.
Climate change, ironically, is a good opportunity for a lot of people, a lot of different interests to come together to try and solve some of our immediate issues, as well as address the longer-term one of sea level rise.
Over the past 10 years, the Hayward Area Shoreline Planning Agency, or HASPA, a group of local environmental, business, and government agencies, have focused their efforts on ways to manage the problem. Throughout the studies and discussions, one alternative continued to rise to the top: the horizontal levee, an idea proposed by Peter Bay, a consulting ecologist, and Jeremy Lowe of ESA.
To my great joy, Jeremy Lowe of ESA and his collaborators came up with this plan for the horizontal levee, that we could use natural forces to build up the marshes so they would protect our shoreline, something which is good for water, good for the environment, good for habitat, and could protect us as well. It's a win-win-win-win-win.
The basic concept is the gently sloped horizontal levee will provide robust flood protection, needed habitat on the bay edge, and the ability to improve water quality in the Bay Area, all at a modest cost compared to traditional flood protection alternatives. In 2012, the Oro Loma Board of Directors agreed to dedicate a portion of its land to build a demonstration of the horizontal levee. Funding came from the Oro Loma Sanitary District, Castro Valley Sanitary District, and a $2.1 million grant from the Department of Water Resources. Additional partners joined the effort, including Save the Bay, Engineering Research Center for Reinventing the Nation's Urban Water Infrastructure, or Renew It, University of California at Berkeley, San Francisco Estuary Partnership, and the Bay Institute. Construction of the horizontal levee and a new treatment wetland basin began in the spring of 2015. This 2-acre wetland basin is upstream of the horizontal levee. Secondary treated water from the plant flows across the surface of the native plants, which naturally aid in biologically cleaning the water. This basin also acts as storage for up to 8 million gallons of water during storms or peak flows. The horizontal levee consists of an area 400 feet by 200 feet with a 5-foot slope from the top to the toe of the levee. The project was designed to facilitate research, so the levee is divided into 12 cells that will test 4 different combinations of soil types, plant species, and watering rates. This will help determine the best combination for removing the nutrients from the water. Project partner Save the Bay took the lead for the seed collection, propagation, and volunteer planting effort.
The exciting thing in the last few years is the opportunities we've had to help restore the bay. We work with volunteers all around the bay, restoring habitat with native plants. This project is going to install more than 70,000 plants, and that's twice as many plants as we've installed at all of our sites together in the last year.
We have our field staff go out and collect seed or vegetative propagules, which are pieces of the plants themselves. And then we process them and break them down in the nursery, plant them into the division beds out on site, where they'll grow for the remainder of the year until we're ready to outplant them.
It will take a few months and a few hundred volunteers to transplant the 20-plus native species into the basin and levee. Over the next 3 years, a research team led by Dr. David Sedlick and Aidan Cacchetti from UC Berkeley will measure the levee's capacity to further polish water and to provide sustainable habitat. Measurements will include incoming and outgoing nutrient, solids, and levels of other trace contaminants. During the monitoring, clean water from the levee will be returned to the treatment plant. The project team hopes the results from this demonstration will lead to other experiments in the East Bay and beyond. If the idea catches on, there's potential to implement larger scale projects throughout the San Francisco Bay Area.
Wastewater agencies of the future are going to be, instead of just discharging material, are going to be trying to recover the resources. So the most valuable resource that we have is the water. This is a great project to try to reclaim that water to use it for growing wetland plants.
So Oro Loma, I think, is a starting point. It's going to demonstrate scientifically how it works. It's going to show people how we might incorporate that into the shoreline. But above all, Oro Loma, I think, is the beginning of one of a number of pilot projects which are all important in continuing that conversation in the Bay.
No other state that I know of is doing this kind of work. We can show the rest of the world, the rest of the country, how to do this.
The good thing about Sea Rise is we have time to respond. The steps we're taking today will ensure that we make good decisions for our future. For more information about the Horizontal Levee Project, visit our website, oroloma.org/levee.